So are you saying LeBron is better than Michael Jordan?
I would pick LeBron James.
The beef between Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas is one of the longest and most bitter feuds in NBA history.
There's no way you can convince me you an asshole.
And you called me an asshole. And then you said you hated me. Apologize for it.
They last played against each other in 1993, but somehow MJ and Isaiah still find ways to talk about it 30 years later.
I don't know what happened, but I know I didn't lead the walk-off.
Well, I know it's all
This is the complete breakdown of the most famous beef in NBA history, which started back in 1985. However, the first time Isaiah Thomas played against Michael Jordan wasn't in the NBA, but during the preparations for the 1984 Olympics. Back then, the U.S. still sent collegiate athletes to the Olympics, and in 1984, Team USA prepared for the games by playing exhibition games against NBA stars. Even though nobody knew it then, the 1984 team was the best collegiate squad the Americans had sent to the Olympics up to that point. Beyond Michael Jordan, there were two other future Hall of Famers in Patrick Ewing and Chris Mullin, along with several other players who had long and successful careers in the NBA. But despite their talent, nobody gave college kids much of a chance against NBA All-Stars, such as Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and several others. Even though the NBA All-Star roster changed from game to game, and they weren't in the best shape in early July after the NBA season was over, nobody could have expected what would happen next. Jordan and Team USA went on to dismantle the NBA's greats in every single game, finishing the exhibition with a perfect 8-0 record. Isaiah played in 3 of those games, averaging 13 points per game, while Jordan averaged 17.
And this dude was so fast and so quick. He was like, oh.
Jordan and Team USA would win gold at the Olympics with a 32-point margin of victory, and MJ led all U.S. scorers with 17 points per game. And when he started his NBA career, it didn't take long for Jordan to start dominating, as he scored 37 points in his 3rd career game. And a week later, in his 7th NBA game, the Bulls played against Isaiah's Pistons, a team that would later become synonymous with his career. And this first matchup against his future nemesis didn't start well for Jordan, who was plagued with foul trouble and ended up scoreless in the first half. But he came alive in the second, leading the Bulls to victory with 25 points. But despite losing, Isaiah was better than Michael individually, with 35 points and 10 assists. Isaiah finally won a game against Jordan in January 1985, but their next matchup was the first sign of problems between the two stars. It was during the 1985 All-Star Game when Jordan felt disrespected by Isaiah Thomas and his East teammates. MJ believed that Thomas was freezing him out and not willing to pass him the ball, and that he instructed the rest of the starters to do so as well. However, the stats don't really back up that theory, as Jordan took 9 shots in 22 minutes on the court, which wasn't low by any means. Adrian Dantley, the reigning scoring champ, only took 6 shots, while Kareem and Bernard King took 10 in the same amount of time on the court. But according to Jordan, the beef didn't start on court, but in an elevator. I got on an elevator with Isaiah Thomas to go downstairs for a league meeting. That was the first time I met him, and I said, "Hello, how you doing?" That's all I said. I was really intimidated because I didn't know him and I didn't want to get on his nerves. I didn't want to seem like a rookie, and I was quiet. When I went down to the room for the meeting, I still didn't say anything. After the weekend was over, it got back to me that I was arrogant and cocky, and I wouldn't even speak to Isaiah on the elevator, that I gave him the cold shoulder. And I'm saying Isaiah Thomas initiated it all. However, there are 2 sides to every story, and according to Isaiah's manager, Jordan was wearing Nike shoes and warm-ups during the Saturday workouts, which violated the NBA protocol, and that bothered Isaiah, who thought the hyped rookie was acting out. After the All-Star weekend was over, fate would have it that Jordan and Isaiah met in the very next game, and Jordan destroyed the Pistons, scoring a then career-high 49 points on 19 for 31 shooting in an overtime win. "It was a grudge game from my standpoint," said Jordan, who always took things personally. The media picked up on the freeze-out story, and after the game, the headlines read, "Jordan gets his revenge, scores 49, and the beef was officially born." In 1987, Jordan established a new career high, again against the Pistons. Jordan poured in an insane 61 points, shooting 22 for 39 from the field in a 125-120 OT victory. However, in the playoffs, MJ had to swallow many bitter pills. In his first 3 playoff appearances, the Bulls won just 1 game, and when Jordan finally won his first playoff series in 1988, he immediately got hot humbled by Isaiah and the Pistons, who defeated the Bulls 4-1 in the second round. In the next two seasons, the Bulls made the conference finals, but both times they lost to Detroit, who proved to be an unsolvable riddle for Michael. By implementing the so-called Jordan rules, the Pistons used to beat the crap out of MJ, using hard fouls to slow down the best player in the world. However, when talking about Jordan, Isaiah was always complimentary, even calling him the best player he's ever seen.
But this guy, you can't stop him. His skills are so unbelievable. Is the best I've ever seen.
But in 1991, the Pistons were aging and tired from 3 straight trips to the NBA Finals. And when they met Chicago again in the conference finals, the Bulls were better than ever. With Jordan, Pippen, and Horace Grant in their athletic prime, the Bulls dominated and won the first 3 games of the series. Before Game 4, Jordan said that the Pistons were undeserving champions and that the bad boys were bad for basketball.
And then called us undeserving champions. Now, we done beat the Lakers. We done beat the Celtics. We done beat y'all several times. Ain't nobody had a harder march to the NBA Finals than the Detroit Pistons. We done got cheated. We done got beat up. We have beaten the best of the best to ever play this game.
Isaiah responded to Jordan's comments with, "People will look back at this team and say we were one of the greatest teams to play basketball. We were great champions. He should be classier than to talk like that." The Pistons were pissed and motivated to make Jordan eat his words. But the Bulls were too good, and they swept the series. However, in the final moments of Game 4, when it was clear that it was all over, the Pistons orchestrated one of the most controversial moments in playoff history. The Pistons walked off the floor before the final whistle, walking past the Bulls bench with their heads down, refusing to shake the Bulls players' hands and congratulate them.
I didn't lead the walk-off. There were several people in the center field. I don't know what happened, but I know I didn't lead the walk-off. If I'd have known that it would have caused this much stir, then we would have shook hands.
This sparked a ton of controversy and added more fuel to the beef between Jordan and Thomas. Jordan and Chicago would go on to win their first NBA title after they defeated the Lakers in the finals. And soon after that, Jordan received a phone call that would change basketball globally. The person calling him was Rod Thorne, who was part of the U.S. Olympic Selection Committee and was tasked to convince Jordan to play in the 1992 Barcelona Olympics.
Rod Thorne calls me and says, "We would love for you to be on the dream team." I says, "Oh, who's all playing?" He says, "Well, the guy you're talking about or you thinking about is not going to be playing."
And according to the book Dream Team, author Jack McCallum quotes Jordan saying, "Rod, I don't want to play if Isaiah Thomas is on the team." McCallum also released a podcast series with the actual recording of Jordan saying that he decided against Isaiah being on the Dream Team.
Rod Thorne called me and said, "Rod, I won't play Isaiah Thomas on the team." He assured me, he said, "You know what? Chuck that one, Isaiah. So Isaiah's not going to be a part of the team."
In the 2020 documentary The Last Dance, Jordan said that he indeed hated Isaiah, but denied that he had anything to do with Thomas's absence from the Dream Team.
No matter how much I hated him. Now, it was insinuated that I was asking about him, but I never threw his name in there.
But ultimately, MJ accepted the invitation, and on September 21, 1991, it was first announced that NBA stars would participate in the Olympics. The 10 players chosen were Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Chris Mullin, Scottie Pippen, David Robinson, and John Stockton. Isaiah not being among them sparked huge media backlash, because Isaiah had made the All-Star team each year from the moment he came to the NBA, and was widely considered the second-best point guard ever behind Magic Johnson.
To me, the best point guard of all time is Magic Johnson, and right behind him is Isaiah Thomas.
But while he was still playing, Jordan denied accusations that he had anything to do with Isaiah not being selected.
If you want to attribute it to me, go ahead, be my guest. But it wasn't me.
And while Isaiah was certainly a bigger name, from a basketball standpoint in 1991, he wasn't better than Magic nor John Stockton, who led the NBA in assists for 4 years in a row at that point, and was a better shooter than Thomas. While he was certainly disappointed to be left off the greatest team ever, Isaiah was still complimentary of Michael. During the 1993 finals, Isaiah joined the NBC broadcast, where he kept praising Jordan and his greatness.
When you're talking about this Bulls team, you're really only talking about Michael Jordan. His energy level is so much greater than ours and performing at a level that we frankly just weren't able to reach.
In 1994, Isaiah retired from the NBA, He faced Michael a total of 65 times in the league, and Thomas has a 36-29 winning record over Jordan, including a 12-10 record in the playoffs. And for the next 25 years, the beef between him and MJ was mostly dormant, with a few cheeky comments here and there. In 2004, Michael had a conversation with Cigar Aficionado and discussed what the issues were between him and Isiah. Isiah was from Chicago, and he wanted to come back and show he still dominated Chicago. I was the new guy in Chicago, and people were supporting the team. It became a dogfight between us. There was some real hatred there. Former Chicago Bulls player Brad Sellers also had similar comments to what his ex-teammate said. We all heard about what happened at the 1985 All-Star Game, but the bigger issue was that Isiah was from Chicago. He worked to be one of the top players to represent that city, and Mike came in and eviscerated that. I can't imagine what that felt like for Zeke, to have an outsider come in and have the entire city behind him. There was no love left for him in Chicago, except from family. This story was also confirmed by John Sally, who played with both Jordan and Thomas.
Isiah goes home, and his nephew is wearing a Bulls jersey, Michael Jordan Bulls jersey. He said, "Hey, what are you doing?" But I'm from Chicago. I'm down with the Bull movement. Isiah was mad. In his brain, every time I play against this dude, I'm gonna try to go off so my nephew sees